Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, fillies and genticles, dragons of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Pondering Pony. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. Come on, Jay. I haven't met a podcast yet that I can't handle. I'll take a bite out of this job by day's end.
Biting off more than you can chew is what I'm afraid of.
Are you saying my mouth is making promises my legs can't keep?
Yep.
Why of all the... This is your co-host, John, remember? The loyalist of friends and the most dependable of ponies.
But still only one pony.
Don't you use your fancy mathematics to muddy the issue. I said I could handle this podcast, and I'm going to prove it to you. Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000 nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. This week we are talking about My Little Pony Fringes is Magic, Season 1, Episodes 3 and 4. Yes.
Yeah.
Ticketmaster and Applebuck season, I think. Yep. Those are the names. Yep. So why don't we get started with a little bit of history. When we last left off, we were talking about how the show aired on the Hub, and after the first week, after the first episode, there was this news article that caught the rounds. And Jay, why didn't you tell us about this article?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super familiar with this because I was not around, but I did do some reading and some research. This is called The End of the Creator-Driven Era in TV Animation, written by Amid Amidi. It's just sort of talking about this, historically in animation, there had been this period in the 90s and the 2000s where TV networks were desperate for things to fill time, so they ended up giving artists a lot of creative freedom to make these very interesting and wild and different shows. Out of that, we get a whole bunch of different things, including Lauren Faust's work on Powerpuff Girls. So he's sort of lamenting that this new My Little Pony sort of represents a shift away from that, or at least an apparent shift away. We'll talk a little bit about that because I don't. Yeah. Anyway, that this is sort of this more commercialized animated property.
Yeah. So specifically ripping into the Hub for being this network that prioritizes products owned by Hasbro, making TV shows out of them, which of course. But yeah, the article is... What do you think about the subject matter of the article, like retrospectively?
Yeah, I think in retrospect, part of the difficulty is like what the author is identifying is a thing. Like this is a trend that we can kind of observe. I think especially in the last 5 years or so, we've seen a major shift away, especially from like Warner Brothers, where they've basically abandoned their original animated properties, especially their TV properties. And yeah, just in general, I mean, animation is moving towards a more commercialized space. We're seeing more sequels, more reboots, more, there's less space for original voices. I don't think that the creator driven era ever truly ended, though. I think we're still seeing...
I think that the article, the person's perspective is not entirely incorrect. I do think he's very true and very correct. I just think that he was off by 10 years. Because after the writing of this article, we had so many shows, popular shows, that were still part of the creator-driven era. Because you had Gravity Falls, you had Star versus the Force of Evils, Steven Universe,
BoJack Horseman?
Yeah, BoJack Horseman, like a renaissance of sorts of those things. And it wasn't really till the 2020s where, like you said, specifically with Warner Brothers, we started to see that shift with, for some reason, like, they're just rebooting all of those shows from the 2010s. So, yeah, we are kind of in that era that they predicted, but they were off by a long while.
I mean, I think part of the other thing is that there has always been a creator driven side to animation, and there has always been a corporate driven side, and those things have always existed, and there's a little bit of overlap and a little bit of gray area between the two of them. um and yeah, the pendulum kind of swings back and forth, though we're definitely seeing, not just in animation but in media in general, a shift towards more corporatized. Yeah, the money is going towards the big corporate products. Even just like, I think the a lot of the Barbie shows kind of represent this, of like, oh, we're making a TV show, but it's going to be a Barbie TV show because that's an established brand, an established property that we can build off of. Um,
Yeah,
which is, I think the other thing is that it is both a bad thing and it can be an interesting thing, because there can be space for artists to come in and have an interesting perspective. And I think that from what I've seen of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, that is, there is that element there of, this isn't just a corporate product. This is something that is made by artists who feel strongly about what they are making. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that is definitely, again, I don't think the article is incorrect, but I think there is a little bit more nuance there. I think the
sure.
author is responding very strongly to this very this very like unfortunate trend that corporations are going to want to prioritize making as much money as possible, and maybe not letting artists take creative risks that end up leading to more interesting things existing.
Yeah, and so the article, uh, becomes popular, specifically with a certain section of the internet.
Yeah, it goes viral on 4chan, which, for people who aren't aware, it's the place from which much of internet culture flows, especially the trolling, and a lot of questionable movements have started there. Um,
Yes,
it's
yes,
and a lot of that, like, I'm sure we'll get into it as we get into the further into the show, but that is definitely something that is very present in the brony fandom. Is there is that sort of undercurrent of 4chan that I think has gotten less strong as time has gone on, but I mean, from what I've seen, it is definitely there, that definitely in these early years. um but yeah, so this article goes viral and a bunch of people started to watch My Little Pony, sort of ironically. um but
also at the
then,
perfect time because the article came between episodes 1 and 2, and
yeah,
after the article, episode 2 come out, and kind of, for like we were saying last week, the people skeptical, they were greeted with the rainbow laser and Nightmare Moon.
yeah, it is, as irony tends to on the internet, it started to become a bit more sincere. And people started watching the show and genuinely enjoying it. Though there was still, I mean, there was still that irony to a lot of what was going on, and that irony definitely
Yeah,
informs the way some people interacted with the property. We don't have to get into that too much this episode, but that is something that is there, and I think we do need to acknowledge that it wasn't sunshine and rainbows all the time, or even most of the time, especially
yeah.
at the start.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway,
Yep, yep. And yeah, the fandom has like started to grow, or did start to grow beyond the 4chan roots, and bring in people who were not in that well of things and who were enjoying it from the beginning more
well,
sincerely.
a
um
big thing that led to that is that after a certain point, 4chan got really tired of ponies, so they just
yeah,
banned any mention of My Little Pony, which meant that those people who wanted to talk about ponies went to every other website, and
yeah.
that's essentially how the cultural phenomenon came to be. Was the banishment that led to other places. So,
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of those other places definitely have a lot in common with 4chan, unfortunately. But
like
yeah, there
Facebook.
is a oh, I was thinking more of the, like, there's a not lack of moderation necessarily, but a permissiveness to what was going on in certain parts of the fandom that is a little bit again, I don't want to get too deep into it because it's kind of a dark
I
topic,
mean,
but yeah,
yeah, there was a lot of ignorance about what this was. I touched briefly about this in my Life After a My Little Pony video. Again,
mhm,
shameless plug. Check that out.
yeah.
But yeah, why don't we talk about episode 3? It's the Ticketmaster.
Yeah, this was released October 29, 2010, directed once again by Jason Thiessen with James Wooten as co-director. Written by Amy Keating Rogers and Lauren Faust. Keating Rogers wrote for a whole bunch of animated shows: Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Ben 10, whole bunch of other stuff. Pretty active within the animated kids
One of
series
the
space.
collaborators of Lauren Faust, the previous projects. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, we have animation by DHX Media and Top Draw Animation, art direction by Rid Sorensen, music by William Anderson, and songs by Daniel Ingram. Once again, we've gone over all of these people in the last episode.
Yeah, a lot of these information is going to stay the same for most of
Yeah.
this podcast, outside of like writers and maybe different directors here and there, but most of that's going to stay the same. But going into the story of this episode, here we have Celestia sends Twilight Sparkle 2 tickets to an exclusive gala in Canterlot, telling her to bring a friend along. But word gets out, and soon every pony in Ponyville is vying to be the one Twilight gives the extra ticket to. And Twilight becomes increasingly exasperated by the favors and gifts her friends give her in an effort to win her over. Eventually, they start to realize the difficult position they put Twilight in and apologize. And Twilight sends the tickets back, saying if she can't take all of her friends, she won't go either. And Celestia immediately sends back 6 tickets so that all the ponies can go together.
I knew that was going to be the conclusion. I thought that was going to be like Celestia was the again, we've talked about her emerging as this sort of deific figure at the end of the last episode. I thought this was going to have been her plan all along,
Do you
that she
think it
sent the
wasn't?
2 tickets. Well, I thought there was going to be an acknowledgement that was the plan all
Well, I
along.
mean, why do
maybe
you think she
maybe
would
it's coming
acknowledge it?
later. Maybe it's coming later. But that
I don't know. Like, we're not going to get any confirmation of anything, but you could
okay.
certainly speculate with how quickly she sends those tickets, including one to Spike, almost answering him immediately. He doesn't even send a letter; she just knows. So there, you could question and infer that maybe Celestia put this conflict in place so that Twilight can learn a lesson, but she's not going to tell Twilight this because that would defeat the purpose, I guess.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I like that she doesn't say anything. That was just my thought, was like, oh, this is
Sure.
this is clearly being orchestrated. But that doesn't seem to. I think you can say that the immediacy of the reply is kind of a bit of like television
Yeah.
editing at
Yeah.
work rather than just like. But yeah, I
It's fun to
again,
put in
yeah,
that idea,
yeah,
especially with the premise of the show of like Twilight's supposed to be learning friendship, so I'll give her a little nudge here.
yeah. Yeah,
Anyway,
and especially since Celestia, at least in the last episode, seemed aware that Twilight had more than one friend.
I mean, yeah, I think she was probably assuming that the other ticket would go to Spike if we were going to go
Okay.
with
Okay.
anything, but still.
I for most of the episode was just assuming that Spike was automatically invited for some reason. Like he didn't
Because
count.
he's the assistant,
Yeah.
he's just the work.
Yeah.
The-
That he didn't count towards the +1 because he was already assumed to be that as like a baby dragon he already had like a standing invitation.
Dragons have rights too, you know. That includes taxes and having to pay for their own tickets.
Oh. Didn't realize that there were taxes in Equestria.
I don't know if there is.
It
I just
yeah.
economy is weird. Apparently, this is never said in the show. This is just something Lauren jokes about. Apparently, they have universal income in
Okay,
that
that makes sense.
they don't work. They just work for fun. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean,
That's never
well,
explained in the
the
show.
next
That's just
episode, the next episode we'll talk about. There does seem to be certain types of work that needs to happen. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, that there is sort of a economics are not meant to be a point of conflict here in this world.
Mm,
Although
yeah.
they kind of are because Applejack has her list of things that she would use the money that she got from selling baked goods at the gala to solve.
Honestly, this very specifics of this world aren't really meant to be important. It's
Oh yeah, yeah,
just the characters and the lessons and just the fun of it.
yeah.
Honestly, we have struggled over the years trying to find the consistency of like what it actually means. Is there a timeline? What does the moon mean? I don't, there's a whole spreadsheet about like the moon and its
Okay.
phases and what it actually means because time works differently. Anyway,
Yeah, this was much more in line with what I was expecting the show to be. Like
mm,
this, I don't know that I have seen this exact same plot in a kids
I
movie or
have.
show, but I feel like I have. I feel like I have at some point seen something at least very similar.
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely one of those episodes that you'd probably at least see more of in like a teen sitcom where
Yeah.
characters have to struggle with this. This is an episode that's almost borrowed straight from an episode of an older pony thing that we will watch in a couple years from now.
Okay.
Um, so we'll get more perspective there, I guess. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I think this works well because the first two episodes sort of stand alone. This one is kind of a reintroduction to the characters in a context that is a little bit closer to what I assume the rest of the show is going to be.
sure.
So we're getting to see all of the main six and their personalities here.
Yeah, here we get like a more clear sense about what their wants are.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones was just general personality traits. Here they have like their desires that they want to get from the gala.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I mean to jump down to characters because I think that this is a very character focused. Like it is interesting how each of them their imagining of what the gala even is very different.
yeah,
You know, for Applejack, it's almost like this county fair where everyone has their own little booth and is selling little things, and then Rainbow Dash, it's like this big stadium where everyone's watching. Um, Fluttershy is it's just the garden; she doesn't even care about the party.
yeah,
Pinkie Pie is like, oh, it's just this like big carnival. Like even just visually, her version of the gala is very different from everyone else's version because it's covered in confetti and yeah,
and then there's Rarity who she wants to be the Cinderella. She wants
yes,
to like marry into royalty. Um,
yeah, yeah. It's interesting that we're getting these very distinct and like separate versions of what each pony wants. I'm surprised at how like selfish and cutthroat they can get.
I know.
It I was not expecting that for a show titled Friendship is Magic. Like and obviously that is the conflict of the episode that eventually does get resolved. Um but yeah,
Yeah,
the steps along the way were very surprising.
I forgot how cutthroat that they were being. It's like they were so cutthroat. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, I remember the constant rivalry between Applejack and Rainbow Dash. But things that I forgot. Pinky assumes that she's getting the ticket.
Yes.
She assumes that it's for her, which is it's an odd thing, but I don't know. Maybe kind of speaks into her character. I don't know if you got anything from that.
I mean, she's clearly very excitable and has a somewhat short attention span. So I guess it
Hmm.
kind of fits in with that.
Sure.
that she isn't necessarily thinking through the context of things around her.
Yeah.
She also seems very self-focused in a way that the other characters aren't quite. Like, all of the other characters do something nice for Twilight that she will like. Pinky throws a party, which it has already been established that Twilight is super into big parties. But that's what Pinky likes, so
Mm. That's interesting.
I'm assuming the way you are talking about this will be a
I
continuing
mean,
thread.
it's interesting to take a look at these characters deeply. Um, I didn't really do that, so
Okay.
getting to explore more of these characters because there's a lot of things about Pinky's character that I kind of just shrug off because just like, oh, she's the party one, but I never stopped and questioned why is she the party one. So this
Yeah.
is just a fun thing to point out. It's like, she's a little delusional here,
Yeah.
and like you're saying, she seems to be a little selfish. So we'll see how this, if anything,
Yeah.
comes of it. I know the
Maybe
answer.
not even like
So,
selfish, but like very self-absorbed in the way that she, I don't know, she has, to use a phrase that I think is overused and don't like using, she has main character energy,
ooh, okay.
where she just kind of assumes that she is the main character of whatever story she is in, and everything that she wants is what everyone else wants,
Hmm.
which makes for very interesting conflicts with Twilight Sparkle, who is very, very different from her. They are the introvert and the extrovert, these two opposing forces. Pinky is very sincere, very energetic, and then Twilight is a little bit more reserved, a little bit um, more cynical.
Okay.
So yeah, I think there is interesting stuff going on there. Um,
What about Fluttershy?
Fluttershy, I feel like this is a little bit against her character, specifically her trying to bribe Twilight. Just feels a little bit like, I don't know. She seems like she would be the one who would realize, oh, wait a second, this isn't actually helping things.
Mm-hmm. But is she in control?
I guess that's the question, because the rabbit seems to be the one who is pushing her to do things. But I think this is like, the rabbit is pushing her, but it's things that she actually does genuinely want to go to the gala.
Yeah, yeah. She's usually again shy and keeps
Yeah,
that stuff to herself, but she's being pushed very
because she
heavily
she
by
is
the
as
bunny.
like cutthroat and selfish as everyone else is in this episode. She's just shy, so it doesn't manifest itself as strongly if she isn't being pushed into it.
Yeah, yeah. Fluttershy is very. I don't want to say the word specific, but more uncharacteristically cutthroat in here than she would normally be.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. There's a theory that I will present when we talk about the next episode, um, about some things here, but yeah, that's an interesting thing to point out. Uh,
I
Rainbow.
think, okay. Oh yeah, Rainbow. What do we have to say about her?
Oh my Rainbow. Uh, she she's Rainbow Dash. She's not the most cutthroat, but she's the most vocal. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
she's
she has
unashamed.
her fantasy, and yeah. Which, yeah, I think that makes sense with her character. I will say, of these characters, I think Applejack is has the best reason of the group for wanting to go.
Yeah, she has to support her family and
Yeah.
do the business. Everyone else has more personal reasons. It's like none of them really want to go to the gala, except for maybe
Yeah.
Rarity. But everyone, like Round Dash, she just wants to show off to her idols. Pinkie Pie wants to party. I guess she wants to go to the gala, but then Fluttershy just wants to go see the garden, which
Yeah.
I don't think she needs to go to the gala to see the
Well,
garden.
I was thinking of that. She actually specifically mentions that the night of the gala is the one time of the year that all of the flowers are in bloom at the same time.
Well, that kind of sucks. If like, who's gonna go to the garden? It doesn't seem like anyone was going in her flashback.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah. No, it's odd. But what I like about it and what I wish we had gotten to, I mean, maybe a later episode will revisit this, but I don't think if they, like, when they go to the gala, that what they imagine is going to happen is actually going to happen. Like, maybe for Applejack, for Fluttershy as well, getting to see the garden, Pinky getting her big party, sure. But, like, Rainbow Dash is not going to wow the crowd with her spectacular moves enough that she gets to join the whatever they're called,
Wonderbolts.
the Wonderbolts. Like that's just not going to happen for her. And neither is Rarity going to wow the princess so much that she introduces her to the prince and they get married and have a fairy tale wedding.
Man, the whole thing leads to a lot of confusion
Okay.
of the supposed nephew and Rarity becoming a princess if she's married into royalty. It's a whole thing. It's Anyway,
Okay.
that's a
Yeah.
conversation for another
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah, I was just curious because the episode ends before they go to the gala, which
hmm,
I think is good because I think going back to Canterlot this early in the show would kind of undercut Twilight's decision to stay
sure.
in Ponyville. Um, so the fact that we don't go to the gala kind of lessens that a little bit. Um, but I am curious, like, what actually happens at the gala? Do the ponies get what they wanted, or are there exploits sort of thwarted in that way that sitcoms must do
Hmm.
to maintain the status quo?
I mean, it would make for an episode. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Have we seen that plot many times in other shows?
Oh yeah, I mean we see there is some event and the characters have some idea of what's going to happen at the event and it obviously doesn't
Sure,
happen.
sure.
I don't know if we've seen
It's mostly
with
romance.
5 characters. Yeah, but that, I mean, that's Rarity's whole thing.
Sure,
Like
yeah.
Rarity's thing is she shows up, she actually does meet the prince, and then it turns out he's like a complete pompous guy. I was going to use a different word than guy, but he's pompous and stuck up, and she doesn't actually like him. Or they do the my scene thing where it's like she's in love with him, but everyone kind of can tell that he's not into her, and then he dumps her, and she's sad.
Sure.
You know, that kind of, I could see that happen, and I can also see the Wonderbolts thing of, like, you know, Rainbow shows off her moves, and they're like, well, that's very impressive, but like we have an application process.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just show up and
Do
steal our
you
show.
do you have a college degree to apply?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
yeah.
I guess even with everyone else, you know, Applejack shows up and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sell all my baked goods," and then something goes wrong and she can't sell her baked goods. But then she
Do you have
learns
a
that,
permit to set up your cart there?
yeah,
You gotta pay your income
Fluttershy
tax.
is like tries to go to the garden, but the garden is blocked by a gate or something. Or
Uh,
yeah, Pinky just wants to have fun at the party, and I don't know, the party isn't what she envisioned it to be. It's fancier and more. Yeah, you can
sure,
see where this is going. Yeah,
sure. Spike doesn't really want to go. Doesn't really care.
yeah.
He's like, it's too
Well, he
girly.
he wants to go. He wants to go. That's
He
the
just
that's
can't
the
admit
whole
it.
thing. Yeah, yeah. He is the people watching this show going, "Oh, we're watching this ironically. Get that girly stuff away from us." But secretly he wants to go.
Sure. Yeah. The town's ponies are, man, they're crazy. It's like they all hear about the ticket and then they just affront Twilight. It's like
Yeah.
that's a little extra. Leads
I
to a
mean,
Benny Hill
it's
chase sequence.
yeah, it isn't like it makes sense within the it's like a comedic heightening of something that is known to actually happen. Of
Yeah.
like, you know, someone wins the lottery and some suddenly everyone I just watched the film Nebraska yesterday, which is about touches on that. But you know, someone wins the lottery and suddenly everyone is saying, "Oh, since you have that money, you know,
Sure.
I have this issue." Except this is it's My Little Pony. It has to be comedically heightened, so it has to be, you know,
Of
chasing around the
course.
town in a big set piece.
Yeah. And that leads to Twilight teleporting with Spike,
Yeah,
which here is it's a big struggle for her to teleport someone else, and Spike gets all crispy.
yeah. I'm guessing because we see her teleport in the next episode. I'm guessing the idea is that the distance makes it more difficult because in the next episode she's doing very short range teleporting very easily, or maybe
Hmm.
she's just learning the spell.
Hmm. Yeah.
Is
I
this
can't.
something that gets addressed, or is this like a thing
No, it's just
fandom?
like an observation where they never point like things like this out, but if you watch the show long enough, you can see small improvements for characters. It's like, oh, hey, they're doing this easier than they used to. It's like, oh, that's
Okay,
pretty cool. So it's
yeah,
fun to go back to watch the beginning and be like, huh, that was a big struggle for her back then. That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Well, I'll be
Anyway,
curious to see where that goes from here. Yeah, visuals. I don't have anything to say about the visuals because it's the same visuals we've had.
all right. So that means my time. Okay, we have a couple animation errors to take a look at here. So first one, we have a shot of our 5 out of 6 of our ponies. Do you want to guess what's out of place here?
Is it Fluttershy's wing being the wrong color?
Yes, she has a blue feather wing here for some reason. And then the other thing I have here is a GIF, but there's something here that's not quite right. Can you see what
So
it is?
there's some odd pixelation on the second pony's hair, but I can't tell if that's just like the GIF's compression or if that's
Take
the error
look
that you're.
more to the left.
Oh, is it the one background pony who everyone is obsessed with?
No, no, no. Look even more to the left.
More to the left.
Keep looking.
Oh, there's some glitching in and out of a selection box or something.
Yeah, there's a pony in the background that's like going around in circles, and there's a red box blinking, calling it out. That's just something. That's a weird little thing, but it's a fun thing to point out.
Something. I mean, this is a big crowd shot, so it doesn't surprise me that there was a little
Yeah,
detail
a lot of
missed there.
assets happen here. Yep. Anyway, performances.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to performances here. We might, as these episodes go on, have less to say about visuals and performances. I think just because, I mean, with TV shows,
Sure.
we're getting the same style of visuals, the same
Yeah,
style of
we'll probably
performances.
just point out like new actors that show up, or
Yeah.
like I have like I have animation errors for almost every episode, so I'll
Okay.
point something out. But yeah, no, we're not gonna go in depth and being like, this is 10 out of 10 compared to last week's, you know. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah, pretty much the same cast as before. You know, Tabitha doing multiple characters again. You know, she's talented that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, here are songs. We have a couple songs, a couple Pinky jingles, as these type of songs are called. One is her gala fantasy song, and the other one is her. I guess it's called the ticket song, where she's like, "Twilight is my bestest friend, whoopee whoopee." Yeah, these were the type of songs that were prioritized earlier in the show. Just these Pinky jingles.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have any thoughts about this.
Not really a style of music that I tend to seek out.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. The music in the show was something that it took me a couple listens before I actually really started to appreciate it.
Okay.
That's just how I am with music in general. Like, I don't particularly like him the first time I listen to it, but after a few listens, I'm like, you know what? This is 10 out of 10 quality. It's going on my road trip playlist. So, yeah. Since I've listened to all these songs so many times, it's like, yes, they're peak music to me, but I know they're not.
Yep. Yeah. I again, this isn't quite my style, and I haven't been won over yet. We'll see if I'm won over later, though. I can't say. Outlook not so good, at least thus far. Hopefully, I'm assuming that the music becomes a bit more varied as they go along.
They do change their direction with the music
Okay.
relatively soon, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Moving on to illusions via the wiki, the Pony Wiki. The episode's title is a play in the American ticket sales and distribution company Ticketmaster. Did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So Rainbow Dash calls one for flying stunts the Buccaneer Blaze. Historically, buccaneers were pirates who attacked Spanish shipping in the Caribbean Sea during the 17th century. The word has also come to connote ruthlessness and recklessness. Yes. Fluttershy's line, loons and toucans and bitterns, oh my, echoes the quote, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, from the Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
When Rarity is done with Spike's makeover, the harpsichord tune is playing in the background is the beginning of J.S. Bach's two-part invention in F major, bunch of numbers, except transposed to E major. I don't know music. The end result of Spike's makeover puts him in a blue suit and blonde hair and sailor's cap. This was similar fashion worn by the titular character of the 19th century children's novel Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Fauntleroy, Nick Nolte himself.
Oh.
No, not there. There was a joke on a different podcast that I was listening to, which was imagining what if Nick Nolte played Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Okay. The outfit is also similar to the one worn by Shirley Temple in the 1934 film Bright Eyes. Fluttershy is humming the My Little Pony theme when Twilight Sparkle finds her cleaning the library. The scene where Twilight and Spike are chased by a mob of ponies features bluegrass style sound like a music of yakety sax from the Benny Hill Show. Mm-hmm. The plot. Okay, yeah. The tickets themselves may be an allusion to the Roald Dahl novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, as one of 5 golden tickets was required to enter the Willy Wonka's factory. Yeah, they were gold and shiny.
Yep.
Yep. Other tidbits that I've already mentioned before. IMDb trivia. This episode was actually the first written and produced back when the show was originally going to have 2 11-minute stories per episode. Okay.
That makes a lot of sense based on how this is being very intentional in introducing all of the characters and their personalities.
Yeah.
I would guess that it changed a little bit in writing, and since they were planning on 11-minute stories, then this probably was going to be a little bit, they had to expand out the plot a little bit.
Which probably led to like extended sequences like the chase.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Friendship report. Twilight learned that sharing one's blessing can affect friendship when there isn't enough to go around. Kind of taken from her speech there. And the last thing I have is Derpy appears in the audience in many shots. You can actually see there's multiple Derpies in this shot.
Oh yeah, sure
Because
enough.
early show likes to copy and paste their background characters because they didn't have enough assets for that. But anyway.
Yeah, saves time.
All right. So before we move on to the next episode, we wanted to take a moment to tell you about where you can find us. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky, and Serialized and Binging Barbie, a Blue Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoy this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go to our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast, where you can find like reactions to these episodes. So yeah.
So yeah, next up we have season 1, episode 4, Applebuck season. This was released November 5th, 2010, directed by Jason Thiessen and James Wooten as co-director, written by Amy Keating Rogers, production staff all the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. As the story goes, it's harvesting time at the orchard, but Big Macintosh is injured, meaning Applejack has to take charge. And she stubbornly insists that she can do it all by herself, overworking herself and getting extremely fatigued. And Twilight tries to offer to help Applejack, but Applejack instead takes that as a challenge to keep doing things by herself. So she's tired and irritable. She messes up a series of favors for her friends, accidentally poisoning a bunch of poison ponies and causing a stampede of bunnies that eat Ponyville's flowers. And she finally has to admit that she needs help after she's reached rock bottom, and her friends help her harvest the rest of the apples. So, yep.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that this is the 4th episode. Like, nothing wrong with it, but I feel like I still don't have a strong sense for Ponyville as a setting.
Okay.
It seems like Applejack is a little bit separate from Ponyville.
That's partially true. Yes, she's the farm at the
Yeah.
outskirts, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah,
I
I
don't.
like that we're getting a more character focused episode here, that we're actually digging into one of the characters in a more sustained way.
Yeah. Yep. This one is the Applejack episode. Where she doesn't want to have anybody help her as she tries to clear the orchard. Which I found it kind of weird because the very last episode we just saw, the episode begins with Twilight helping Applejack with the apples.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
I think part of this is it specifically becomes a point of pride for Applejack. That in this particular case, like, the fact that her brother said she couldn't do it by herself, and the fact that everyone else keeps telling her she can't do it by herself, is making her more resistant to help than she usually would be.
sure, maybe. Twilight never points out that she had helped her previously. She
Yeah.
immediately questions, "Hey, where's your big family I saw in the first episode?" Which here the answer is that, oh, that just happened to be a family reunion that she showed up
Yeah.
on.
Which I do like that they're acknowledging that.
Yeah. Which has led to this theory that none of the episodes are in like any chronological order. Things just kind of happen at different points of time, kind of like how Clone Wars was in its early seasons, where they would go back
Okay.
and forth. I don't know if there's any truth or credence to it. It's probably just like they decided to write the episode this way, and there's really no actual timeline. But that just some people decide to create a timeline, and so this is one of those pieces of quote unquote evidences that are like, this must have happened before Ticketmaster, at this certain point of time. So anyway, just like a fun little thing there. It doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
that's not the point, but still, when you have time on your hands and you want proper continuity, then
And I
this
mean,
is the
the people who are becoming fans of this show at this point in time are people who engage in fandom in that way, in the sort of the way that Star Wars fandom works, where it's like compiling timelines and figuring out where everything fits in that regard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. For me personally, I don't care about that kind of stuff because I think that is kind of missing the point of the show. It's like trying to figure out what order Phineas and Ferb episodes happen in. It's like there isn't an order because it's a sitcom where the status quo is reestablished at the end of every episode. So it's like it doesn't actually matter. It is intentionally designed so it doesn't matter when the episodes take place.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially in these earlier seasons, for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if as it goes along it becomes more serialized as these shows tend to do. They move a little bit away from the episodic stuff and start
Or
structuring
they
things out a
become
little
more
bit more.
aware of like trying to make sure the details aren't too jarring.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Depends. Again, rotating writers come in, so we'll explore that years down the line. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we mentioned, this is more of an Applejack centered episode, and here's Applejack's big struggle.
Yeah, this is something that I do find a little bit relatable of not knowing how to ask people for help. Um, yeah, I think that is it's a very good arc to give her as a character. It feels like it fits within what we know about her as a character. That would be a flaw that she struggles with.
Sure. Yeah, we also see that she's a big workaholic as she helps not just on the farm, but she helps other people, other ponies doing their
I
own things.
I would argue that isn't quite workaholism, more just in the way that like Barbie in Dream House Adventures is constantly over extending herself for her friends. It's like she has a very strong sense of community and a less strong sense of her own limits, which
Hmm.
means she says yes to things that she doesn't necessarily have the time or the energy to give her all.
Sure. It's funny when the town ponies are like presenting an award for Applejack, and all the other ponies are just chiming in. It's like, hey, Applejack's so cool, she's gonna later help me out with this thing, and everybody's
Yeah.
butting in. It's like, why do you need to let everybody know this? Um, Fluttershy, she does the same thing, which is, good on her for not being afraid of public speaking.
You know what this kind of feels like. Was this one of the episodes that they wrote to be an 11-minute story?
Is possible.
Because it
Like,
kind of feels to me like the first 5-10 minutes, maybe not that much, but the stuff with the first stampede and Applejack getting an award, that might have been stuff that was added later on.
maybe.
Because I could
Maybe.
imagine the episode working still without those things. So that's just my theory. That the
Uh,
episode existed in some form, but then those scenes were added.
Speaking of that stampede, here we're introduced to the bovines of this world, the
Yeah,
cows.
I was surprised to see that they have cows in this world. It
They're
made more sense once the
sentient.
cows started talking. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like, who do the cows belong to? Are they just roaming on their own, or
I
are
think
they
they're
part
just
of Applejack's
yeah.
farm?
I think they're just roaming on their own. They probably have their own. I mean, they mention having their own space, so they're probably just like a separate society from the ponies.
Yeah, except we never see them again. This is the only time we see the giant group of cows. It's like, where do they belong? There's a lot of mysteries like that where they'll show us something like that and we don't ever see them again. It's like, where do you belong? What's that society like? Where are the cows? Why don't we see the cows?
They jumped over the moon.
I guess. Yep, they're not afraid to stampede and potentially hurt a whole town of ponies. I wonder if
Well,
it's
I mean,
happened before.
they are stampeding out of fear because someone saw a snake,
Sure.
so they aren't
Yeah.
necessarily thinking clearly.
Yeah. But still, you know. Um, yeah. So we were talking about Pinky about the last episode, and here I noticed that Pinky here is oblivious to Applejack's um fatigue. Specifically
Yeah.
in the scene where they're presenting the award, everyone's like, Applejack seems kind of weird. And Pinky is like, she seems normal to me, while she acts crazy herself. Which, like, this is what I was thinking of when you were talking about Pinky. I was like, yes. I find this very fascinating that she's oblivious to the pain that others are having, and it's like very frequently
Yeah.
spoken. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
just
and
wants
I
to
don't
see the
think
best
yeah.
out of everything and ignores or doesn't see the problems.
Yeah, the thing is Applejack is acting delirious but acting like Pinky would act in this situation. So Pinky doesn't recognize that as, oh, Applejack is acting different than normal, so therefore something is off. Pinky sees, oh, Applejack is acting the way that I would act, so obviously everything is okay.
Hmm. Yeah, and everyone invites Applejack to do their own different things. Where Rainbow Dash needs her to jump on a on a thing, what a
Yep.
seesaw catapult thing, which fun physical comedy, of course, of her missing all the shots.
Yep. And
Yep,
then
yep,
she accidentally poisons
yep.
everyone by making a very odd or cupcake recipe.
Muffins,
Muffins.
muffin recipe.
Muffin recipe. I mean, it wasn't any of those things because it was not edible, but
No, it's why do they have potato chips at a bakery?
I mean, I feel like you could use those in certain recipes.
Yeah,
Maybe it was
it's
just
not
someone's
common.
like lunch break snack.
Maybe. Um, it's pointed out that this was Pinky's first time leading the counter at the Sugar Cube corner, which
Yes.
is a detail I did not notice or remember. So I was like, that's neat. She's never going to be doing that again after this fiasco.
Yeah. Yeah. The Food and Drug Administration is going to shut them down.
I mean, I don't know if the horses have that administration, so.
Yeah. And then she causes a bunny stampede with Fluttershy.
Yeah.
And that's sort of
Fluttershy having to count the bunnies, the new bunny families, which she has to like do that every week. Like it must be tiresome
yeah.
trying to keep track of all that. But that leads to a bunny stampede and has the flower ponies just in horror and in shock, being over dramatic.
Yep.
Yep. And then of course, they all end up working out.
Yeah,
At the
everything
end.
works out at the end.
Twilight, after multiple times, here again we see that she's teleporting more frequently to gain an advantage. Applejack has multiple concussions at this point. um, I felt really bad for her. Just she being so tired and constantly missing and kicking and whatnot.
Yep.
Yep.
Should we go to the visual errors? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you about something later. Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah, visual errors. Here's this one with Applejack. I wonder what's wrong with her here.
No idea. Looks fine to me.
Looks fine to me. Yeah, just no mouth. Just this weird thing.
Yeah, looks like they forgot a layer or something.
No, I don't know if it's forgot a layer. It's just the program for one frame decided, you know what? Mouths don't exist. Yeah. Next image, we have a crowd shot. This is more like a general thing you'll see with crowd shots, but what do you notice that should be here that's not here?
Cutie marks?
Yeah, cutie marks. Obviously, they're not putting in specific ponies because it's a crowd shot, but still,
Yeah.
you can recognize. Oh yeah, that's that background pony. They don't have their cutie mark. Um, this is like something you're gonna see for like ever for the rest of the show. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, here it's like very noticeable because they're like in frame here. And the last
Yeah.
shot here is, I guess, technically a smear frame of like individual
Yeah.
in between stuff. But in this smear frame, you do see that she is kind of losing detail on the left side of her face here. It's still a weird image to look at. She has
Yeah.
multiple eyes and mouths.
Yeah, to me it just looks like that's the sphere that they're going for.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, performances. We have a few new people here. Brian Drummond, who we talked about a lot for the Barbie movies,
Yep,
playing
he's
Carrot
playing
Cake.
Mr. Cake, the one of the owners of the Sugar Cube Corner where Pinkie Pie works at.
Yeah.
James Wooton does a voice as the mule for the one joke.
Yeah. Peter New as Big Macintosh, which maybe we heard him the first episode. I don't remember.
We were Applejack did point out Big Mac, but he never spoke in the first episode. So
Okay.
this is his first speaking role. Peter New, we've seen before playing Big Macintosh. What do you think about Big Mac?
I don't know enough to say. I like his vibe, but yeah.
Yeah, his vibe is gonna change a little bit.
Okay.
Um, which is it's always funny to go back to his first appearance because he actually doesn't speak a whole lot in the show.
I
So
mean that makes
it
sense. He's seems like the more strong silent type.
mhm. A thing that you're gonna notice, especially in this first few seasons, is there's a lot of uncredited voices, and
Okay.
that's because in the first couple seasons they didn't change the credits for each episode. They just had like a list of the regular cast members, and so you just had to look up what other voices that were. I think this would eventually be changed for like re-airings,
Okay.
but in the original run, they didn't credit the other voices, just the main six and other big members.
Yeah.
No songs in this one, so can't really say more about that. But moving on to the illusions via the Pony Wiki. During the first Stampede scene, Applejack again refers to the cowboy song "Get Along, Little Doggies." This time, the reference is more appropriate than the one in French's Magic Part 2 because Applejack is now herding actual cows. The second Stampede scene features bunnies running around a pony lying on the ground in their downshot, much like the scene in The Lion King, when Simba's father Mufasa is killed by the antagonist Scar being thrown off a cliff into a wildebeest stampede. I don't know if that was the intentional direction for that, but
I mean,
yeah.
maybe.
During the bunny stampede, one of the background ponies, Rose, or Roseluck, delivers the line, the horror, which is from Joseph Conrad's 1899 novel, Heart of Darkness, and also used as the main antagonist's dying words in Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now.
Which is, I think, based on Heart of Darkness. So that makes sense.
Yep, and when Applejack says, "Are you saying my mouth's making promises my legs can't keep?" she references a phrase used in Top Gun. Really?
Yep.
I do. I love that opening monologue between
Yeah,
her
it's
and
fun.
she says a lot of fun things like your fancy mathematics. Because clearly that's very fancy mathematics to point out that there's only one of you. All right. On to IMDb trivia. The muffins that Applejack make in this episode would not cause food poisoning to humans if properly baked. Okay. And as a sad note, Spike didn't have indigestion when eating them, and so dragons are commonly known to eat many things like raw meats and not having this. Who? What do you mean they're commonly known? How is this a known fact? I mean, yeah, they do eat meat, but still, this is a weird piece of trivia. Okay.
This doesn't have anything to do with anything, but my dad got a trivia game, and it was supposed to be trivia that most people will know, or more common, easier to do trivia. So the first question he gets is, how long was Sleeping Beauty actually asleep for? He guessed she no amount of time because she doesn't exist, and the real answer was 100 years.
Okay. Yeah, that's common knowledge,
Yeah,
I remember that part of the Disney film. Okay. All right. So we once again see Derpy Hoobs in this scene, in the crowd trying to get muffins. And something interesting in that is that she actually says a word here. She says muffins. It's part of a crowd noise dialogue, but her mouth moves when someone says muffins, so it must have been her. And this led to a lot of uh her character traits being that she's obsessed with muffins. That's her big character trait, that she loves muffins. And it all comes from this one little shot here, so you know,
Yep.
if a background pony does something in the background, it forever becomes part of their character. So muffins is forever part of Derpy's character. So yeah. Friendship report. Applejack learned that it is okay to accept help as it is to give help. Okay. And then lastly, the first Stampede scene features Bonanza theme music. Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about this week's episodes?
Oh yeah, I forgot to do my cultural anthropology corner.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
I think once again we're continuing to see Twilight Sparkle is sort of working as this audience surrogate. Anytime the show gets a little bit too extreme in sort of the kids show sincerity, she's there to kind of undercut it. I do also think this third episode having these characters act in a very cutthroat way that seems out of character for a kids show, I think that is also helping set this apart in a way that another show might not feel, even though it is this common episode type, that
Sure.
there is a little bit of edge to that usually isn't there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, makes sense. Fits what we've been saying.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to remember next time to do a more specific thing.
All right. Well, with that, thank you, Owen, for listening, and make sure to follow us on your podcast platform of choice and on our social media platforms, like we said before. And we'll be back next week to talk about episodes 5 and 6 of Friendship is Magic. And until then, get along, little doggies.
Bye, ponies.
The horror.